Hello, everyone. First, I just want to confirm, can you hear me? Can I be heard? My name is Adrian VG, and I am the host for this round. I just want to make sure you can hear me. Hey, look at that. So, welcome, everybody. We had a few technical issues last time, but hey, that's part of the magic of live marathoning. Just the show has to go on. So, I'm your host, Adrian VG, and welcome back to Blast the Process 4, our fourth major marathon dedicated to all things Sega. And I want to just say it's a pleasure to be back, and it's a pleasure to see not only a lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new faces in chat. And also, as far as running goes, we also have a lot of new faces and familiar faces in chat. So this is going to be quite a marathon. Already had fun. Once again, thanks to Turbo Gilman for his previous run of Altered Beast. And right now we have jquestionmark running Nights in a Dream, the premier game, or I guess the more iconic game for the Sega Saturn, with Dream Tora for extra commentary. So welcome, both of
Hello.
you.
Thanks. Super
Be
excited to
here.
be here running on Blast the Process again. I missed the last one, but well, I watched the last one at least. So very excited to see all the rad Sega runs all weekend.
Mm-hmm. So whenever you're ready, just give us a countdown and we can start this run.
Cool. Well, first off, in Nights into Dreams speedrun tradition, I will be deleting my save data because we want to start from a fresh, clean save. Otherwise, it randomizes the bosses, which is not good.
Yeah, no good.
So I run a slightly different order than everyone else. So I'll be starting out here with Elliot. I guess I'll count down 3, 2, 1, then go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So it's worth noting, I run on emulator. I do have an actual Saturn and a disc of the game, but I run on emulator honestly mostly because it's convenient. It's hard for me to physically set up a Saturn and capture from it. The benefit to that is a lot of you who are used to nights, especially night speedruns, may be hearing slightly different music than what you're used to. Since I actually have A life data, and though emulation introduces some lag, the A life data is not an issue, which is pretty. I don't know, I like it.
Yeah, normally, if you were playing on actual hardware, you would delete your alife file. The reason is that alife is basically all the creatures that spawn in each level, and the more that spawn, the more lag that's introduced, and lag tends to slow things down by quite a bit, depending on how much of it there is in each level.
All right, so the whole game pretty much consists of collecting these blue chips and then opening up idea captures. Idea. I'm not really sure what the
Idea.
idea. That didn't even occur to me as an option. So after each one is collected, we want to complete the lap. We're actually about to see a pretty big skip. The game, it's worth noting, is generally spent flying around as knights. The opening part where I was running around as Elliot is actually not typical when playing the game. That's not usually how you want to do things, but there are several parts for the speedrun where it is way faster.
Yes, and you'll be seeing the on-foot sections for at least like a couple more stages after this, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Frozen Bell, and there's one for Claire's as well, I think Soft Museum.
Yeah, Soft Museum first Mary you do by foot. Frozen Bell you do partially on foot and then partially as knights. And so here we have not the first boss, but like the first boss that Jay's doing, and that is Puffy. Now Puffy tends to be
Oof.
a little uncooperative at times. Um, you basically have to throw her through these walls, and looks like Puffy so far isn't doing. Yeah, that's actually a pretty decent Puffy.
There was a little bit of
Okay.
funkiness, but I'm happy with that.
So Puffy at times like will decide she does not want to go through the walls at times and just go completely backwards and just make your day rough. But that was actually a really decent Puffy, especially for a marathon.
So after each stage, we reset, which is done by holding A, B, and C and start. If you press it before that little die kind of thing with your ABC score appears, you will unfortunately not keep your progress for the stage, which is very bad. I'd love to say that never happens, but it definitely does. I have a few moments. I saw the game audio is quiet. I will try to turn it up a little more next chance I have, which unfortunately probably won't be till after this stage. So I guess one thing worth noting, because I do run this without deleting my save data, you all might be so lucky as to see me get ruined luck-wise by running into an egg.
Yep.
Hasn't happened yet, but I'm
It'll
always
happen.
ready for it.
It's bound to happen. Like even when I clear an A life file before my runs, I'd still accidentally like open a PNA. So this is the actual first stage you would do in a Knights run, and that is Spring Valley. And as you saw, like the first couple of mirrors were pretty straightforward. Important thing that Jay picked up there is the boost. You kind of need the boost in certain stages, especially for the bosses.
Yeah.
And there's not much more to say about this stage because like a lot of these mirrors are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, there's not a lot fancy going on in this one.
It's a pretty basic level that like teaches you about basic movements in the game. So. And Jay hit there like that thing that had a ribbon behind Knights. Like, if you hit a certain like loop, then you could do tricks. But we, in a speedrun, just like zoom around with it on, don't really do anything.
So it's worth noting, the speedrun plays the game kind of right, because the idea is definitely to get the Idea capture open as fast as possible. But in a real playthrough of Knights, what you actually want to do is get it open as fast as possible and then spend a ton of time earning score. This is actually a score attack game. The speedrun doesn't care for that. Oh, shoot.
All right. Let's see if he gets the kill. Oh.
Ooh, but we get the music, so fair trade, I suppose.
So weird thing while Jay's trying to get the kill on Gilwing. Weird thing about Gilwing fight is that the music doesn't start until Gilwing roars. So if Gilwing doesn't roar, the music just is non-existent. And he'll go like for a long time in the fight without doing his roar, so you could be doing the battle completely musicless.
Oh no. I was adjusting the audio volume and I missed that skip. Okay, hopefully it's at a better volume now. Let me know and I'll try to sneak it in after the next one. Alright, so this stage, this is probably my favorite music that really changes up from having actual A-Life data. It doesn't normally sound like this, so enjoy.
And Mystic Forest has some really good music.
This stage also has some pretty tight and interesting routing. This first mare, a lot of these, there's some leniency. If you don't collect every single chip, it's not a huge deal. This first mare, we need every chip, or we don't have enough to open without extra loops or going past and coming back, which is not what you want to be doing in a speedrun.
And also to note that this is the one and only stage where you do one of the mares completely backwards. And the reasoning is just the routing, like you get the orbs you need going backwards than you would going forwards.
Yep, it works out nicely. It winds up being pretty fun and interesting. And we, if I recall correctly, finished that entire mare backwards. I mean, I guess I should remember that. I'm about to do it.
Yeah, third mare you do completely backwards. So yeah, like, you go backwards, you hit that cage, and you get this clump of orbs. Basically, these little things that Jay's hitting, they give you orbs as well, I think. And then you get the last 4 going past the cage before you destroy it.
And the final mare, I think there is a top-down section in it. Whoa. Well, that went terribly wrong. There's a top section, a different stage that we, at this point, have already completely skipped. But here we get to see our first, and I think only in the run top-down segment?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and in this mare, you don't really have to worry too much about your orb, or getting all the orbs in the path leading up to this top-down section, because there are some extra orbs you could collect in that section if you're short some.
Yeah, unlike the rest of this stage, there's a little bit of leniency on that last mare, which is nice. Yeah, no car percent. Sorry, Heartwolf.
Aw. No car percent. And here is Gopo, which Jay and I were talking about this earlier before we went live. And, it looks like he got a bad position for Gopo. It's really tough to get a decent position for Gopo.
I'll take that. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not a bad Gopo, considering.
Gopo can go down in 3 hits, but Gopo's uncooperative.
Yeah, the thing to note about Gopo is when he is upside down, he takes double damage when you boost into him with the fish. And also, he is the one boss with the longest dying animation for whatever reason. Or a huge delay between defeating him and him dying, I should say.
Yeah, and that happens on hardware and on emulation. So it's worth noting, I'm pretty much the only person that runs it on emulation, so if other people want to get into it, I will happily help set you up with whatever you need to get playing, because I'd love to see more people playing the game in general, but emulation especially.
So this is the other on-foot section, as we mentioned earlier, where you collect these orbs that Jay's going out of his way to collect. Collect some like right in front of the shrine, and collect some to the side, and then there's some in this hill, and then some more over there. It just works out that you collect just enough orbs, actually a little bit more than enough orbs to break that cage, and then go back to Knights.
So I commonly refer to this stage as Lag Museum. On emulation in particular, it seems to have a lot of issues. So prepare yourself for some chunkiness here.
Yep.
Yeah, weirdly, the A-Life data doesn't cause as much lag as on console, but I feel like this stage more than makes up for it. So here's another hidden boost if I can collect it.
I know, I keep circling them as well without collecting them. Alright, so now we're coming up on the Soft Museum skip, which basically there is an auto-scroller in this section, which you do not want to take in a speedrun because it takes way too long. So once Jay collects all these other orbs, he is going to do what's called a super paraloop or whatever it's called to collect 2 hidden orbs in the background.
Oh, there's one. Oh, jeez. My positioning is just a wee bit off on this, and it is costing me.
Positioning on this particular skip is not easy.
There we go. So the good news is that wasn't super longer than normal, about 15 seconds for my usual time. The bad news is I am now dangerously low on boost.
Yeah. And you do not want to be without boost for the boss of this stage, because the boss of this stage is painful without any kind of boost.
Yeah, there's actually, I would be doing a lot more boosting here, and I apologize because I'm going slow in a Sonic Team game, but
yeah, he needs to preserve that boost, because when you see the upcoming boss and how like difficult he would be without boost, you'll understand why Jay's taking it slow here.
Yeah, the payoff on the boss is worth it.
So yeah, we're coming up on probably the worst boss of this game, mainly because he can either like be a pal and let you do what you want to do, or he'll just be a jerk and ruin your day. Which most of the time he wants to be a jerk and ruin your day.
Yeah, his name's Jackal. I usually call him Jerkle.
Yeah, we jokingly call him Jerkle.
That wasn't too bad. 99's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice Jackal.
So I guess it's worth talking about the normal game mechanics for a moment here. You'll notice I got a 1.9 multiplier from this boss. You get a score multiplier based on how fast you beat the boss. So when you're playing the game properly, quote unquote, you want to beat the boss real fast and maximize your score multiplier. Really, the correct answer is to just always go against the boss you're fastest against, because you can set that manually once you've beat the game. But we start from fresh data, so it doesn't work that way. So,
Alright,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Frozen Bell, this is the last on foot section you'll see in the run, but this is only partial. You only need to collect about 12 orbs on foot as Elliot, and the rest you collect with knights.
It's worth noting that little slide down the hill you do right there isn't actually possible on the HD version. The HD and Saturn have slightly different mechanics, which makes some things impossible on HD.
HD does, the physics in HD are like really weird in comparison to Saturn physics.
Yeah, it plays perfectly fine, and if that's your only avenue for getting into the game, by all means play it. But once you get used to the Saturn, it's very disorienting switching to HD.
Yeah, when I started running this game, I started running HD version, and then once I started running Saturn and tried to go back, I was just like, nope, Saturn for me.
Yeah, a lot of the skips that we're doing are actually significantly harder on the HD version, so yeah, nothing but the utmost respect for the HD runs.
So a little note for that part there with the boost and that ring of snowballs. You actually, the quickest way to do that is you just paraloop, make the boost appear, destroy the cage, and then get the boost instead of getting the boost and then destroying the cage. But
oh, that would have been a lot smarter, huh? I always do it that way.
That's just how it's routed out. Like, I know there's something similar like that in Stick Canyon where you don't get the boost until like the second lap on the first mare.
Yeah, I always get it on the first mare. I often wind up suffering for it. So this boss, unlike Gulpo, this one is very much execution heavy. Gulpo, I feel like there's a little bit of luck involved. This one, oh, missed that guy.
So you see, he's paralooping these unlit mice, and that's just to get them out of the way. Because the less mice you have in the field, the easier it is to get the claws and destroy them. And that was a very nice claws, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, that felt pretty smooth. All right, next up is Stick Canyon, home of the 2 worst auto-scrollers in the game, one of which is very easy to do on accident,
Yep.
and one of which is easy enough to avoid, but playing casually is almost guaranteed to cause you to time out. Actually, I guess, have we even talked about timing out on Dreams?
Oh no. So you notice when you go through these levels that there is a timer at the top or bottom. I can't remember.
I think it's at the top. Top.
Yeah, at the top, and you gotta pay attention to that timer because if it gets to 0, then you'll turn back into Elliot or Claris and have to walk on the ground and collect and resume the mare on foot, which you want to avoid, especially in a speedrun, because it's really, really slow.
Yeah.
And as Jay was saying, that the second auto scroller in this level is guaranteed to make you time out unless you have plenty of time going into it. But thankfully, in the speedrun, you avoid the second auto scroller completely. But this auto scroller that Jay's trying to avoid,
I'm just gonna take the long way around. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's always the most nerve-wracking mare to do in this level, just because if you so much as like brush up against that boost, it's over.
Yeah, it may have looked like my flying around there was very slow, but that 4 or 5 seconds saved me. I think it's about 30 seconds for that auto scroller.
I think so, yeah. That sounds about right.
So when it goes wrong, you're way better off taking your time setting it right than trying to hurry and sending yourself on a trip. Oh, I do want
and here comes the most fun part of Stick Canyon, and that is the the part we call the Tower of Terrible.
Oh.
And basically, this tower, you're only meant to go up it casually because you hit the second auto score, and oh darn, Jay's getting
obliterated
by the.
All right, since we're already having a bad time.
And so, like you go up this tower and just take the auto scroller to finish the level, but because we get the second auto scroller, we go down the tower, and because you're not really meant to go down the tower, the camera just wants to work so hard against you, so it's really hard to see where you're going. So you kind of have to like go down and pray that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's worth noting, because I had those 2 bumps and I was bonking around a little, if I had tried to take the auto scroller, I would have timed out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so this boss has been giving me a bit of trouble lately. It's a cool boss because it is a mirror boss, so it can do what you can do. It's Riala, but the catch is you want to catch him.
Oh, nice first hit. So basically, you want to catch Rila in one of your paraloops and hope that he doesn't paraloop you first, because he has done that once or twice to me in a run where he just decides to be mean and paraloop me first.
Yeah, Riala, if you can catch him on a paraloop on the way in, it works out great. If you miss it, like I did on the second and third one, it can be very hard to recover from.
That was a really decent Rila.
All right.
Rila, aka the Shadow the Hedgehog of the Knights universe.
I know I've thought that before, but I don't think I've heard that before, and that's harsh.
I mean, when you think about it, it's true. I mean, what's funny is this game predates Sonic Adventure 2, so that just makes it even funnier.
So this stage, things get mixed up quite a bit. You'll notice we already have a timer, even though it's not counting down yet. And we are flying, not as knights, but
As
the kid.
Elliot.
Yep.
Yes, Elliot can fly, everyone.
It's in a dream.
Big plot twist. The kids can fly this whole
Jeez.
time. They just decide not to do it to the last stage. So yeah, Twin Seeds is actually a really cool stage. Like I think the first couple of mares are pretty straightforward, but there's like the last couple of mares you'll be doing a little tricky do to do them faster.
So yeah, this stage is a lot of fun, especially when you execute it fairly smoothly, because it flows really well. And then stuff all of a sudden gets interesting, because...
And then this is the first mare where you go whoop, and you go backwards. Remember how I said Mystic Forest was the only time you go backwards on a mare? I lied.
I guess one other thing worth mentioning here is you don't have paraloops, so if you miss stuff, unlike Knights, you do have a nice little sort of... whoa...
Your magnetism, or whatever you would like to call it, is bigger, so it kind of makes up for the lack of paraloop.
But when you miss something and you try to loop back for it, you have to actually loop back for it.
So that was a very nice Twin Seeds, and we are going into the final boss, and that is Wise Man.
So this one, I think I have a pretty decent amount of boost juice, as it were, or dash, or whatever. I'm sure there's an actual term for that bar, but yeah.
Boost juice is the best.
So
Wise Man here has 4 phases. Yeah, and his first one here is fireballs, which these fireballs, if you pay attention to where they are shooting out of, are pretty easy to avoid.
Oh.
And then the second phase, the asteroid phase, it's pretty easy to as I say that. But it's pretty easy to avoid those if you're in the right spot. But sometimes you can be in a really bad spot and just hit the asteroids.
Yeah, I tend to slam into them now and then.
And then this stage, the snowball stage, tends to be the roughest because if you run into them, knights will grab onto them. And it looks like you avoided the snowballs pretty well.
Yeah, that actually went really smoothly. And then
tornado, you just need to go through the middle and not get caught.
And there we go. Time will be
there
coming up.
There we go. Time. Not time yet. Sorry.
Yeah, not time. When it screen fades to white in anytime now. Anytime now. I swear it's coming. And time.
GG. Very nice.
Thank you. That's not too bad. Sub 27. I'm happy with that. So it was a little rough around the edges, but it was a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now our good boy Elliot. I guess we didn't really watch the opening scenes that play. Well, the opening scenes don't play when you start the game. They of course play as start of the opening demo reels. Our good boy Elliot was worried about his lack of basketball skills, but now, thanks to his magical dreaming stuff, he can dunk with the best of them.
These kids are about to get dunked on.
Truly an inspirational story for us all.
That's right. He dunked so hard, he turned these bullies into friends. There's a moral in there somewhere. I don't know what it is. So that's Nights into Dreams. It's a super fun, casual game. As a run, it's pretty forgiving. There's a lot of leniency. Um, so I highly, highly recommend checking it out, giving it a try. It is, unlike many, many Saturn games, through the HD version, possible to play on modern computers. So please go check it out. It's a good time. Come run the game and destroy our time so we're motivated to play it even more.
Yeah, and we have a Discord for night speedruns. So if you're interested in running the game, you could join there, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions relating to how to get started and like strats for the game and whatnot.
Yeah, Christmas Nights is also good stuff.
Yeah, Christmas Nights is great.
Especially
right.
Sonic into Dreams. Sorry, I'll keep talking forever if you don't stop me.
Oh, no worries. I was just waiting for a good cadence, and hey, if you have anything more to say about Nights, but if not, I think we'll move on to the next run.
Alrighty.
So,
Yeah.
All right, so once again, thank you so much, jquestionmark, for the run of Nights into Dreams, classic Sega games. And thank you so much, Tora, for contributing co-commentary.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you, Tora. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was more than happy to be here.
Thank you. And up next, it wouldn't be a Sega Marathon, a Blast Process Marathon without Sonic and a Sonic block. So up next, we start the Sonic block with Foe running Sonic the Hedgehog 1, the game that started all. Stay tuned, everyone.